Welcome, Leo, to your reading for 2026. We're actually going to look at the main theme for your year. You have this Blessed Ideas card. It says, allow your ideas to come to fruition, and they will bring many blessings. You have the Spirit World card. It says, your spirit guides are sending you helpful people and opportunities your way. Yes, I would put the emphasis on people. I feel that, Leo, you've learned how to work with people for many years, probably through like challenges and things like that. And now you have to, it's like I don't really think you have anything to prove necessarily, Leo, but it's like you are maybe showing the universe that now you have learned like how to work with people, how to get them on your side, stuff like that, right? And so that, I don't really think that's your theme for the reading, but I do feel it's like something that you will be doing, and sure, we'll take both. Why not? But again, that's like something that you could be working on. I'm doing a Celtic cross, obviously, and my intention for these readings is that the first card will be your theme for the year. So you have the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups could be love. You do have a little bit of love here, but again, these aren't, I am going to be doing more 2026 readings where we will go deeper into things like love and stuff like that, but, these are meant to be more about you, if that makes sense. And you have the Ace of Cups. I would say that at the end of 2025, when I'm recording this, this will be published in December of 2025, and right at the beginning. And I would say that there is this energy of like getting into the flow, getting into a flow. The Ace of Cups can easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So we have to do more things that cause us to overflow. In your case here, Leo, I do think this could be a good year for you to glow up. Type of energy. I don't think the reading is saying you are going to glow up. I think it's saying you could glow up, and you should, right? You have that Bright Ideas card, or the Blessed Ideas. It says, allow your ideas to come to fruition, and they will bring many blessings. And there's a light bulb on it. The Hangman wanted to flip out with that King of Cups, and the Hangman, his head is glowing. He has gained enlightenment. And so I feel like the more you get into the flow, the more you will glow. That's what we're going to say. We're going to rhyme it here, Leo, in your reading. I also feel like the Ace of Cups sometimes says that we have to say yes to things that are bigger, bigger opportunities, bigger promotions, bigger, businesses, whatever. And I kind of get that feeling for you, where if you kind of like get into the flow with whatever it is you're working on, even if you're retired, you could be working on yourself, your health, whatever, that if you say yes to those like bigger challenges, kind of, that is where the glow will come from. Your crossing energy, which can be the energy that hurts you or helps you. In a Celtic cross, you have the Hermit, and what do you know? He has the star in his lantern. I always say the job of the hermit is to open that lantern up and to shine all over the place. So again, I'm going to say that your main theme is basically to glow as much as possible. The trick with the hermit is that he's been through something difficult, which I feel many Leos probably have. And now, when you go through something difficult, sometimes you isolate yourself. Like that's what he is doing on the hermit card. He's isolating himself at the top of the mountain, but now he needs to come down from the mountain. And, I always say that the hermit makes a lot of sense right now because we have the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces. People who are born with the South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces, like in a past life, they could have escaped to the top of a mountain. Usually their past life is they were maybe hurt in a past life by something, a person, a place, or a thing, and they wanted to punish the world. So they decided to hide their gifts from the world to basically punish the world for something bad that happened to them. And, again, I think collectively with South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces, we have to kind of like let something out. You're the only sign that has had this during this set of readings, so that's pretty interesting. Because again, I do think 2026 is a good kind of glow up year for you, like I said. The other thing that I would say is flow is important. There's something about like force popping into my head for you in 2026. I would start now. Again, December 2025 until the end of 2026. It's like you shouldn't have to force things to happen, right? And so this would be more about just being who you are, shining your light, right? Being authentic. And that seems to be like a little bit of a trick for you here in this reading. So, definitely something I would pay attention to. Next, in the area of what's on your mind or the area of your thoughts, you have the Nine of Cups. And Nine of Cups, of course, is wish fulfillment. It is kind of like a little bit of a reward year for you, Leo, where there are rewards. Again, I think you're the only sign that basically has had this. This is what's popping into my head. But again, I think it all comes from you. It's like these aren't just rewards you're going to get. These are rewards you are creating for yourself. The Nine of Cups can be like a wish or wish fulfillment. All he has to do is be in alignment with what he wants, and he will get it. So all he has to do is adopt the habits. He just has to be in the energy. He just has to do the things that he wants would do. So if he wants love, he just has to love himself. If he wants money, he just has to be around the feeling of abundance, right? And I would be focusing on your feelings. I don't really consider the Nine of Cups to be a feeling card necessarily, but you do have the King of Cups, who has very deep feelings. He explores his feelings to a very deep level, and he makes sure that he is in alignment with the things that he wants to feel. And, I think that is how you could be attracting some rewards, some gifts, some blessings, whatever it is that you're after. Next in your foundation, you have the Tower. A lot of people have had the Tower. We're going to see a lot of global Tower moments between now and 2033, as I always say. So, I don't know. Doesn't really surprise me. I think we'll probably see a global Tower moment in December. So, it doesn't really surprise me. I wouldn't worry too much about it. The other thing I would say is the Tower isn't bad, really. The Tower is about kind of stepping into reality. These people have been ignoring reality for too long, and now they're feeling a little bit of pressure to come down to reality to see the world for how it actually is so they can make some changes. And again, I always say one card does not make the reading. The reading is very positive overall, and we're going to clarify, so we'll see what comes up, but I'm not too worried about this. I also just think moving for some of you. So some of you, maybe you already have moved, because I feel that over the summer, maybe from like July forward, some of you could have already moved just based off the astrology, but I also think 2026, some of you could be moving as well. In your past position, this is the energy you are moving past. You have this tick-tock card and this deep knowing card. Pressure. I basically was kind of saying that on the Tower. The Tower, sometimes I feel we can feel the pressures of time. We can feel what can cause a Tower moment is we can see opportunities that we missed, and we can feel like we missed out on certain opportunities. I am getting a message here for you, Leo, that you're going to want to pay attention. I feel like I said this to you in 2025, by the way, but I just get this feeling that there could be some opportunities that remind you of past opportunities, and they're not exactly the same, of course, but, there might be like a little clue, like, hey, you should pay attention to this because it's like very similar to something you missed out on in the past. Like, now is your chance to jump on this opportunity. So I would be paying attention to those opportunities, obviously. You have the Two of Wands. I actually really like the Two of Wands in your past because you always get these cards of needing to leave a comfort zone. And the Two of Wands, he has his village down here. And, the whole point of the Two of Wands is that he needs to leave a comfort zone. And with the Tower, again, the Tower doesn't have to be bad. The Tower could say that you're pushing yourself out of one reality and into a new reality, and that is where growth happens. So I feel really this is saying that you are kind of maybe stepping out into the world, which also the Hermit needs to do the same thing. Like I said, I think your message is very simple. You have to glow at this time. It is like time for you to shine, or whatever you want to say, right? But how are you going to do this? You're going to do this by living your best life, right? You don't have to tell anyone anything. You don't have to teach anyone anything. As I always say to you, Leo, you just have to live your best life, right? And try to do hard things. And I feel that is it. That's it. That's all you have to do, Leo, to stand out, get attention, all those other good things. So I would definitely do it. I do feel like a lot of movement. 2026 definitely could be a year where you're moving around a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean like moving your house a lot, but it could mean like travel. It could just mean you're making a lot of moves, which actually I think some of you already have started making moves, and it's going to be, I feel it's going to be busy but good for you in general. Next, in the area of your very near future, you have this card that says, expect a powerful change. You have this card that says, new romantic cycle begins. Again, these readings aren't meant to be love readings, but love could be a supporting element to what you're doing. So obviously, if you're in something positive, like a positive connection, that can have, that can impact the things you're working on. It can make it better. You can feel supported, all that other stuff. If you're with a person that makes you feel like you're glowing, obviously you are going to glow more in that situation. So, it makes sense. Definitely could be a powerful change coming in. Also, in the very near future, you had the King of Cups, but when I pulled that King of Cups, the Hangman wanted to pop out there. I feel like the King of Cups is talking about your emotions, so your emotional state. I'm pretty sure I've said this to you before, but again, I'm I really would say that I think everybody should do this, but what I feel for you is like I would go a step deeper on the things that you think you want, because I feel that is how you are going to attract the things you want. I always use the example, it's like most people, they want to make a bunch of money so they can buy a fancy car, right? But it's not really the car they want. It's what the car can give them that they want, right? People want status, love, money, support, whatever, right? So when people buy a Lamborghini, it's like they're hoping that they're going to attract a bunch of women, right? But I can tell you, when you get a Lamborghini, the only thing you attract is men, right? So there you go for the people that want a Lamborghini. But it's like, it's not actually the car that you want. It's something else, right? So I would be going one step deeper, because if you say, oh, what I really want is companionship, and then you make that emotion your focus, you then not only will you attract love, but maybe you'll also attract the Lamborghini as well. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with manifestation. People say they want money. It's like, no, money is not what you want. You think you want money, but really what you want is what the money can get you, right? So I think that a lot of people manifest from the wrong place, right? We have to manifest from that place of what we actually want, and we have to understand what that looks like. And I feel like the King of Cups is helping you get clear emotionally on that, which is good. The Hangman, obviously, I think is talking about you glowing. His head is glowing. It's like he knows what to do. He's hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom, and he's gaining enlightenment. The Hangman has put himself on pause, and now it's time for him to move forward. The good news is that in the area of your next few months, you have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is forward movement. In your outcome row here, you have this promotion card. It says, elevated earnings come hand in hand with heightened responsibilities. I kind of said something, I don't remember exactly what I just said at the beginning of your reading, but, I do feel, I said something about going for bigger opportunities, right? And so that is definitely just based off the astrology. A theme for you is like, say yes to bigger things, plain and simple. You have this counselor card. It says, your compassionate nature makes you a good listener. Your advice is sought after, hermit, and your perspective is a valuable commodity. Yes. So again, I think I've said to you a million times this year that 2025 I'm talking about, that you are basically like a teacher without even realizing it. But you're going to teach just by living your life, right? And that's all you have to do. And I feel like you need to understand that it is very valuable to people when you do those things. So that's what I would be doing here. Like I said, in the next few months, you have the Knight of Pentacles. So progress, I feel pretty good about this. I'm not the biggest fan of the Knight of Pentacles. He's the only knight that isn't moving, but I do feel he does represent progress, and I feel like you're making progress. I feel like you could be maybe a little bit more aggressive in your progress as well, Leo. He has these empty field behind him, and he could easily plant seeds in that field and they would grow. And you have the Six of Pentacles in the area of your future feelings. Literally you feeling like you can plant seeds. That's what the Six of Pentacles represents. So, I feel like this is saying, and I'm pretty sure I've said this to you before at the end of the year here, that I feel like you could start things with a bang. You could, any project you're starting. I'm not telling you to burn yourself out, but I am telling you to maybe try a little bit bigger, go a little bit bigger. All I do all day is YouTube and social media. So, I'll just use that as an example. It's like, instead of starting with one video, like start with 5, right? That's what I mean by going just a little bit harder at what you're doing. Mostly because I feel like if you do that, you will grow faster. And, that is the opportunity that you have at this time. Like anything you're doing, like I said, you don't have to go crazy, but just like a little bit crazy, just a little bit extra would maybe get this moving a little bit faster, although I still feel pretty good about it in general. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the Lovers. This is all relationships in your life, but definitely could be love coming in for you. Like I said, I am going to be doing some more 2026 readings based off of other topics. So, we're going to go deeper into love and we'll look into it later. But, could be a supporting element. Like I said, obviously, if you're in something positive, it's going to make you feel better. I also feel in general that you could be attracting better connections with people, and that is also going to be very supportive. Like I said, I think over the past many years, you've had difficulties with people and now you probably know like which people you can work with or which people you can connect with and which people are actually going to help you and support you and all that other stuff. So I would be paying attention to that. I do feel there's like this right here is your higher self angel. He is guiding these two people together. So your connections could have like this element of destiny this year. The connections you're making in like work and business and friendship, every type of connection, they could be a little bit more divinely guided. And I feel that will also be a good thing for you. So I would nurture those strong connections. Next, in your future feelings, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. I feel like you feel like things are just working. I feel for a long time, you've probably put work into things and not really gotten much of a result. And so there are like little breakthroughs that are happening here. I feel like if you're working on something right now, I've said this to you before, Leo, you definitely need to keep going. Leo, I feel like you are in an iteration process. It's like your first, like what, how you're doing things right now is not how they're going to finish, right? And I feel you need to know that. For sure. It might be a little bit annoying to have to keep putting work into a project or even a relationship or something else you're working on, but it's a growth process that you're in. And I feel you need to understand that. It's almost given me, like, I don't mean this in a clickbaity way, but it's almost giving me Empress vibes. Like if you could be in the Empress energy, she nurtures the things that she really cares about. The more you nurture something that you're working on, the better it will be. So I get that do not give up type of energy on this card for sure. Your outcome is the Page of Swords. Yeah, I'm a big fan of curiosity for sure this year. You're like the only sign that has had something about it. Like I should have probably said it to everyone, but you're the only person that has had the Page of Swords so far. And the Page of Swords wants us to be curious. I think it's an amazing time to learn, to educate yourself, to ask a lot of questions about the things you're building in life. Because if you do that, you will probably find some breakthrough answers that will really, level you up or cause you to glow. And that's what the reading wants you to do, plain and simple. So ask a lot of questions. Again, we have Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius this year. Good time for it. With the Ace of Cups and the Hermit, you have the Nine of Pentacles, pre-Empress energy for sure. So the Nine of Pentacles is gratitude and luxuries. That could be a good feeling for you to get into, to attract more, is the energy of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, right, Leo? And doing that could bring in more abundance. I do feel it is an abundant year for you in general. I mean, obviously you're going to have to create it. If you're doing nothing new, then nothing is going to happen. But if you work on that bigger idea, that bigger project, it will be a blessed idea, but it's not going to magically happen. So, I would make sure you're putting in the work. Focus is also very important. She has this falcon on her hand, and that falcon represents the fact that she is training her focus. So, staying focused on one thing at a time, very good. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Ace of Swords, a laser-like focus, right? Ace of Swords is about having that laser-like focus. You pick one thing and you accomplish it. That's it. And so I feel a lot of you need to stick with something. I do get that like sticking with something this year type of energy where you're going to, like I said, you're going to have to iterate on what you're working on. The first thing is not going to work necessarily. Although I think it will. Like I think you're being led through success. Six of Pentacles, you plant a seed, it works, you move on to the next thing. But sometimes with the Six of Pentacles, we plant a seed, it doesn't work. We just have to plant another one and see if that grows, right? And so there is this iteration process. I feel like you could be just cutting out a lot of crap this year as well. Ace of Swords cuts both ways. And so sometimes we have to like make sacrifices or cut things out that are slowing us down to have something better. And I would. With the Tower, you have the Two of Cups. Love could be coming, and it could be a surprise with the Tower. It could be a life-changing relationship as well if you're finding love at this time, Leo. Two of Cups is usually a person who's very different than your usual type. So, and I think that's come up for you before in 2025. So it could be attracting a person like that. Two of Cups is also you and your higher self, So this right here is the Staff of Hermes, which is Mercury, which represents communication. So a lot of you could be, communicating with your higher self more. It does. I kind of do feel that Uranus and Gemini, which will, Uranus moves back into Gemini in the springtime, is that it is like downloading crazy, brilliant ideas. So I would be listening to your downloads. I also feel like the way that you communicate is changing with that tower. Like you could be communicating with the world in a different way. And, that could really be having you glow or stand out here, Leo. With the Two of Wands, you have the Page of Swords again. So again, curiosity is going to be important. The Two of Wands, he maybe needs to be curious because he's standing at the top of his castle. He has the whole world in his hands. The whole point of the Two of Wands is to get out into the world, to go explore the world and see what the world has to offer, and to ask a lot of questions and to be curious. So even though it's coming up in this past position here, this could say that you can still work with that energy. With the King of Cups and the Hangman, you have the Knight of Cups. So sure, definitely love, absolutely could be a supporting theme for you this year, Leo. The Knight of Cups can be a knight in shining armor. Don't be surprised if you get swept up in something. I mean, even the Tower, like I said, it doesn't have to be a bad card. It's just a new reality that you're entering into. So you could be entering into a new reality with a person because you're like getting swept off your feet. So, again, don't be surprised if that happens. Knight of Cups wants us to work on our dream, though. He's standing in the desert in front of this water, and even though he's in the desert, if he planted seeds in front of that water, they would grow. So even if you don't think you can take advantage of a big opportunity, this is saying, yes, you can. Plant the seeds anyway. See what happens anyway, and things will fall into place. With the Knight of Pentacles in the area of the next few months, you have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, Seven of Swords is tactical thinking. Again, Uranus and Gemini. I think with Uranus and Gemini, we have to be willing to go against the grain, to be rebellious, to try new things, to try different ways of standing out. He's stealing those swords from this army in the background. He's going to war, but in a different way. And whatever you're working on, it's like maybe the normal conventional approach won't work as well as if you come up with like a more tactical approach. We are definitely in a time of tactics where we have to be tactical in the way that we work on things. We have to look for unconventional ways of being successful. But if you put that thinking cap on, Leo, you will be successful. With the Lovers, what do you know? You have the Queen of Cups. So this right here, of course, King and Queen of Cups, divine counterparts. So you could be attracting definitely love. You're like the only person that has a really solid love reading, I would say, in this set of readings. And we're going to look into this deeper in future readings, like I said. But, definitely could be a very strong emotional connection with a person, or you could feel very connected to a person. With the Six of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Yes, Leo, this has been the last year for you, and it's probably going to be the next year for you as well. Queen of Pentacles is about resourcefulness. And Six of Pentacles kind of says the resources will appear when you get started. And I know that's hard because you might be thinking like, oh, I need money, or I need time, or I need something else so that I can get started. And really the trick for Leo is to get started and then the resources will appear, but not the other way around. Like you're probably going to think that Knight of Cups, that you're in the desert, that the resources don't exist for what you're trying to create. But if you get started, they will exist. So you have to get started first. Queen of Pentacles, very good card for money. She's very good at multiplication, which is something that I would definitely focus on if I were you, Leo, is like, how can you get more of a result that will help you glow, right? Anything worth doing this year, I think, will be bigger, bigger impact, bigger, bigger display, whatever you're doing to promote yourself, or, it is a good year to promote yourself, I think. So, this could be in business, in love, in work. Making those bigger moves will have you standing out. Here you go. With the Page of Swords, you have the Lovers, so you probably already have your eye on a person. You could be spying, they could be spying, you both could be spying, whatever. But if you want love, definitely a very solid connection that could be coming in for you. The Lovers can also be a choice. And as I always say to you, I would pick the new path. Like if you're trying to choose between something old and something new, I think that the new thing is going to be the secret with that card. You have this Principle card. Yeah, Neptune and Pisces. For whatever reason, I feel that Leo is one of the signs that's being affected by Neptune and Pisces very heavily. I don't really know why I feel that way, but I just do, right? And I've talked to you about it before. Neptune and Pisces is traditional belief. Neptune and Pisces is a direct challenge to the things that we've always believed. So the principle card is about you standing up for your principles. I feel like there are some principles that you have that disappoint you. Like what I mean by that, Leo, is that I think Leo has a good handle on like how the world should be. But is the world that way? No, probably not. So I think Leo gets disappointed when people don't like live up to their expectations in some ways, right? When people do bad things or people do things that you wouldn't do, right? And I'm not saying that you're like that you're okay with this necessarily, but I do feel like you are saying it's almost like you're not allowing it to disappoint you anymore. I feel like you're saying, well, this is how the world is, right? But you can choose to be an example, which is how you're going to grow with the Hermit, right? So there you go. Here you go. You have this achievement card. Definitely some achievements. The Ace of Swords is a victory or an achievement coming in for you. So yes, for sure. You have this discovery card. I would be open to discovering new things. Two of Wands, Page of Swords. You know, being curious. Sorry, it's not focusing. You know, getting curious, getting out into the world, going on adventures, all that. You have the authority card. Amazing time for you to become an authority and glow here, Leo. It is time for you to create that glow up and to take authority over your own life or to become an authority. That would be good as well, especially with Pluto and Aquarius. And finally, you have this inheritance card. Yes, I would be paying attention to the ideas that you're downloading. I feel this is like a spiritual inheritance where you are inheriting, you know, ideas or plans or goals that could make you very successful. So pretty good reading here, Leo. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your year.